Hi, brothers and sisters. Tests and trials are going to happen. The word tells us this. It's going to happen. And when it happens, sometimes we become discouraged. Sometimes we're not joyful and thankful and grateful during those times because all we can think about is our circumstances and what's going on in our lives at that time. And sometimes it can take us to a place where we don't talk to God as much because we're feeling grief or confused or melancholy, whatever the case may be. And just like you don't really talk to Him much, you also won't talk to the people around you because maybe you're keeping it to yourself. During these times, and as I tell you, this is something that I also have to remember as well. During these times, we have got to especially lean on the Lord, ask Him to strengthen our faith, to help us walk in faith, to lean not of our own understanding, but of His. Because I'll tell you now, there's so many things that we won't understand right now, but later on, it will make sense. Or maybe it won't, but it's a part of God's plan. He is the only one that can see our future. And so He's laying it out for us, for our good and for His glory. So as I say this to you, again, this is something I also have to remember because tests and trials are going to come. And we just have to remember God's promises that He said He'll never leave us or forsake us, and that He promises us peace as well. He has overcome the world, and so He's never going to give us more than we can bear. The tests have to come to strengthen our faith in Him and to help us be more I'm thinking of the word, I'm sorry, but to basically build up our faith in Him. When everything is good and everything's going fine, some of us don't communicate with God as much, and we take for granted things. But when we're going in through a test and we're going through trials, there's no one to turn to give us comfort except for the Lord. Give our souls comfort except for the Word and laying it at the Lord's feet and giving it to Him. And hope that you will pass this test and that it will strengthen your faith. Because when it's over, you will have joy, you have peace, and it's all a part of God's will. So you'll be on the right path. He is constantly shaping and molding us. He allows things to happen in our lives to test our faith, to build us up, and to lean on Him. We cannot do it alone. So we communicate with Him in prayer, read His Word, whatever situation you're going through. It is an example somewhere in the Word. It talks about it somewhere in the Word. And if you do have other brothers and sisters that you can talk to in the faith, then communicate with them as well. But the Holy Spirit is with us, and so we're not going through it alone. We're not. You feel like it. You feel like the Lord is silent when you're going through a test. But the thing is it's just like in school. I was looking at this movie that said that, and it made so much sense. when the student is taking a test, the teacher is quiet. So when we're going through trials and tests and we feel like God is not near, we don't feel his presence as much as we do on the days that we're full of joy and we're praising and worshiping, and you can almost, reach your hand out and touch the Lord. He's happy with you, or, you're glorifying him and everything's great. And then when you're going through tests, you feel like he's so far away. It's because you have to go through this thing. And whatever it is that you learned in the season when everything was great, we now have to use those things. It's not an easy walk to be a follower, but the reward that we will have at the end of this race is eternity with the Most High in a new heaven and new earth. And that is my hope. That is what we are to look forward to, because right now we're living in a world full of just all this chaos, but one day we'll live a life that does no longer involve all of these things that we see around us. Grief and sorrow and fear and depression and just any of those things. Wicked and evil people, there won't be a world with those things. So the sadness that you feel when you're going through trials and tribulations, it will be a thing of the past. And that is our hope. That is our destiny. That is the Lord's will for our lives. So just some encouragement. The Lord does say, just like Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego when they were in the fire, and they saw a fourth person in the fire with them, and that was the Lord. He promises to never leave us or forsake us. He's going to be with us in the fire. He's going to be with us in the dark, through everything, through it all. He promises to be with us. And those are things that we have to remember when we are going through anything. Grief, when we've lost a loved one, marital issues, breakups, loss of your job, loss of income. There's so many things that happen in the world today, but whatever the case may be, the Lord is with us. And I look back on my life now of some of the really grievous things that have happened, and I thank God for them, because of those things happen, it has only built my testimony. And there's been so many times where there have been people in my situation, and now I'm able to give them wisdom because the Lord brought me through. But when I was going through it, I was not a child of God, but the Lord was with me, and He brought me through. And a lot of things have, because of the things that have happened in my past, has really built me up to be really thankful and grateful to be a child of God, 100%. And now I'm able to help those people that have gone through a lot of the things that I have dealt with going through in my life. It's all for a reason. It's all for a reason. We won't know how all of it makes sense, but He's got a plan. God's got a plan. And we want to pray that His will be done in our life above our will, and whatever plans that we have, that He shapes them and molds them to line up with His will and His plans for our lives. So I hope you guys have a nice night and peaceful rest, and that the Lord wakes you up in the morning. so we can do this all over again.